You've clicked on another English Exposed video where I expose the truth about English. Today, we're going to be looking at things that people have written and how to correct them. This was written by one of my students. It comes from their English book at school, so it's not something that I made them write. It's something that their English teacher at school made them write. I'm not looking at this as formal writing. This is informal writing, and it was written as if he were talking to his partner. If you're an English teacher and watching this video, there's something that I do with my students when correcting their mistakes. I always give them a positive first, something that they've done well, then the negative, what things we can improve on, and third, another positive. So they end on a happy note. And if you are doing this, great. The article that's mentioned here on page 8 talked about hang gliding, skiing, and kite surfing. So that's what is being asked to write about, write a description about, and to share their descriptions. Let's look at what he's written. The things that he has done well is he is using sentences that I understand. They're written clearly. I understand the meaning and I understand what he's trying to say. And he's also trying to use punctuation with these sentences. So that's really good. The other thing that's very good is the words or the vocabulary that he has used in these sentences, like nervous and proud. Those are the things that he did well with these sentences. Now let's look at the corrections. Right away, we can see that he doesn't use proper capitalization all the time. Capitalize that single I. Capitalize it. And don't forget to capitalize when you're starting a sentence. Here, if starts this sentence, and it should be capital I because it starts the sentence. And when you have an I that stands alone or by itself, it should be a big I. I know that there are a lot of students that are using that little I, but that's wrong. You can see that he uses capital I correctly. In the other sentences, he has I need, and that's a capital I. And then later on, he uses I like, and again, that's a capital I. So he knows how to use it. The next thing is spacing. Spacing! Don't space too far. Don't space too close. Space. Let's look at the spacing. Most of the time, the spacing is fine. It's quite good. But there are times when the words come together, like I would. That actually looks like a word and not two words. And with I need to practice, looks like one word. It's too close together. And my extreme, again, those words need to be separated a little bit more. And you also don't want to separate the words too far apart, as in feel and then and then also, especially with is and then skiing. So be careful with spacing. Now let's look at grammar and spelling. Spelling, 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 spelling. Learn to spell. Use a dictionary. I'm a terrible speller. Thanks for autocorrect. Yeah. If you're a student and have trouble with spelling, make sure you have spell check or a good dictionary. If I were to correct this sentence, if it was me, I would feel a bit nervous and also proud and maybe cool. That's how I would correct this sentence and how a native speaker might speak these words. This is called spoken English. Grammatically correct, though, it would be, if it were me, I would feel a bit nervous, proud for doing it, and maybe it would be cool too. When we use that conditional, if it were me, we use were. I know, it's crazy. I did a video on conditionals, and you can watch that video. I'll post a link to that video in the description box, or you can click up here. If it were me, I would feel a bit nervous. Those are his words. I always try to use the student's words. I try not to add too much unless it's necessary. And here I added, proud for doing it. Because of the word proud, it sounds like they're proud for being nervous, and I wanted to clarify or make it very clear that he's proud for doing an extreme sport. And maybe it would be cool too. Again, he has to use that conditional. Maybe it would be. If he would have said, and it might be cool too, he could say that as well. But again, I'm trying to use his words. And maybe it would be cool too. Now let's look at the next one. The next line reads, I need practice. Right away, you see a spelling mistake. It should say, I would need to. Again, we're using that conditional because he's not actually doing this sport. So he should say, I would need to practice. And here we have to add the word for years because we're talking about for this amount of time. And I've also done a video on this as well using for and since. And here we're going to say 4 years to become a pro. He's missing the word a there, a pro. One person, one pro, a pro. So the sentence should be, I would need to practice for years to become a pro. And here is where he should end this idea or end this sentence with a period or a full stop. Punctuation, punctuation, punctuation! In the next part, he says, my extreme sport I like is skiing. So we can't use the possessive my because this extreme sport isn't his. We can't use a possessive. What should it be? If you said the, that's correct. But we're going to pronounce it with the extreme because, remember, when it sounds like a vowel, A-E-I-O-U, we say the. So let's say the extreme sport. The extreme sport I like is skiing. Now there's another error here. Do you see it? If you said the spelling of extreme, you're right. That T looks like an F, and there is no A in extreme. And he would have noticed that if he would have read the instructions, because the word extreme is there. So it should read, the extreme sport I like is skiing. And he did put 2 dots above those I's. I just accidentally cut those off. So those are 2 dots there above those I's in skiing. The extreme sport I like is skiing. Grammatically, that's correct, but he can't say this because he doesn't ski. So again, he must use that conditional. The extreme sport I would like to try. I would like to try is skiing. Right? He lives in Costa Rica, so he would like to try skiing. Now, is it correct? I know, you've read it several times. Walk away. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour. Come back and read it again. Please, read it again. If you said no, you're correct, because the sentences are out of order. Listen. If it were me, I would feel a bit nervous, proud for doing it, and maybe it would be cool too. I would need to practice for years to become a pro. The extreme sport I would like to try is skiing. Do you hear how it is out of order? Can you put them in order? Let's put these sentences in order. Don't forget to check your work. Are those sentences in the right order? If you said, number 1, the extreme sport I would like to try is skiing, that's right, because you want to introduce or tell me what extreme sport you're going to be talking about. Number 2, now you want to say something about this extreme sport, giving your opinion. If it were me, I would feel a bit nervous, proud for doing it, and maybe it would be cool too. Now remember, he's talking to someone else. So remember that he's talking to a partner. So this sentence is okay because they are comparing notes. And this is what he wrote. And finally, he ends it with, I would need to practice for years to become a pro. And that's great. That's a good way to end this. And that's how I would correct these sentences. I told my student that they did very well with making the sentences understandable. I understood the meaning of each sentence, and that was great. I also told him that he did a good job choosing good vocabulary words. Then secondly, we reviewed the corrections like we've just done now. And then the third part, I told him that capitalization and word spacing are easy to fix and should be easy to remember. And there's a little trick to spacing out words when you're writing. Put down your smallest finger and write the word after your finger, like this. Now this tip is for children, so if you're an adult having problems remembering spaces, use a pencil. Put down a pencil and then write the word. Put down the pencil and write down the word. I told him that he did a great job with this and that the spacing and the capitalization, those are things that we can fix that are fairly easy. And the other things, well, that'll just take some time and practice, and we can do it. Over the holidays, my students and I played an online game. I often hear students say that they learn English from online gaming. Hey, don't trust the grammar in the games that you like to play online, okay? Be careful. Be careful. But if we look at these things, we can see that sometimes they get it right, well, and sometimes they don't. Here are some examples. You can see that this one says, wintertime snowflakes falling. Ask yourself, are these sentences? No, they're not. Wintertime. If I walked up to you and said, hey, how's it going? Wintertime. You would be confused. Hi, how are you? Wintertime. It's not a sentence. What about snowflakes falling? Hey, how's it going? Snowflakes falling. Hi, hey, yeah, snowflakes falling. So you can see right away that those aren't sentences. The other thing that's wrong is spelling. If you said spelling, that's right. Winter. How do you spell winter? Winter. W-I-N-T-E-R. And they're capitalizing everything again. Remember, capitalization means to be yelling. And we don't need 3 exclamation points. Not necessary. One does its job. So to correct this, we would say, it's wintertime! Exclamation point. Snowflakes falling. What word should we put there? Snowflakes are falling. That's right. Snowflakes are falling. This would read much better if it said, it's wintertime. Snowflakes are falling. Of course, the next thing is, Make the most of it. Make? What word is that supposed to be? If you said make, that's right. And the other word? The, not duh, the. Make the most of it. 1 exclamation point. That's right. So be careful when you're trying to learn English with those online games.